Beauty Spy War Episode 29 Opening. In the last episode, Episode 28, Juntae struggled with the shocking discovery of his childhood friend Sang-wook's photograph. In the NIS code decryption room, a photograph appeared beside the name. Call sign Young-woong. Successful infiltration of the National Intelligence Service. Sang-wook, the son from the eel restaurant near Yongdo Bridge. He was connected to a North Korean espionage lineage. Juntae and Dae-bom decided to maintain secrecy while continuing their investigation. Is Jang Eun-young really a woman? Or a disguised identity? Director Kim Bom-jun and director Jang Jin-woo. What connects these two men? A mysterious untraceable call to the director. Do you know what you did in that freezing, extreme region? And a composite sketch of Hi, a suspect speaking North Korean dialect. In Seoul's Yongsan district, we've received intelligence indicating another assassination threat. That's how episode 28 ended. And now, episode 29. 0425. The secret of these 4 digits is revealed. If we interpret it as April 25th, that's the founding day of the Korean People's Revolutionary Army, organized by Kim Il-sung. A city starting with Bex. Will the next target be assassinated at BEXCO? And a new character appears. The motorcycle surged forward. A beautiful woman riding a motorcycle, Eun-ah. No, her real name is Jang Eun-young. Comrade Jang Eun-young. Make Chief Kang Young-woong firmly our ally. Orders from the Black Snake instructor. And a middle-aged man in sunglasses, appearing at the pool. Chief Kang Young-woong, hungry for power. Except for the president. I will thoroughly crush anyone who disrespects me. Power and ambition. Desire and revenge. 2 dangerous people meet. Beauty Spy War, Episode 29. Eun-ah's ambitious desire. It begins now. NIS Cryptanalysis Lab. Have we identified signs of an assassination attempt against a former agent? Through recent communications surveillance? Yes. However, we have not yet been able to identify exactly who the target is. How did you detect the assassination signal? How? While tracing the assassinations of director Kim Bom-jun and executive Jang Jin-woo, we noticed a 4-digit number 0425 repeating consistently. 0425? A recurring number? Yes. The same 4 digits, 0425, have appeared again. That's why we suspect it may be an assassination code. Good. This is big data, isn't it? Yes, sir. If 0425 is interpreted as April 25th, That date marks the founding of the Korean People's Revolutionary Army, organized by Kim Il-sung during his anti-Japanese partisan activities. I see. Then do we know who the target is? No, we don't know the target, but we estimate that the location is not Seoul. Not Seoul? Why? It appears to point to another city. Is there a city that starts with the letters Bex? Bex? Not Max, not Bex. What could that be? It's not Beijing. Could it be Begsuko? Like the convention center? That actually makes sense. Then are they planning to kill the target at Begsuko? Let's first check what events are scheduled at Begsuko, and see if anyone connected to our organization is involved. That's a good idea. I'll look into it immediately. Let's take a 10-minute break and resume. I'm short on nicotine. Daebom went up to the rooftop and, for once, pulled out a cigarette. He knew it was bad for his health. But when things felt suffocating, he smoked occasionally. Biz. His phone vibrated. The name Drive. Eun-ah from the National Forensic Service appeared on the screen. Oh? You picked up right away today? Eun-ah, I'm in the middle of a meeting, and just stepped out for a short break. What's that smell? Are you smoking? He almost dropped the cigarette in his hand. It's like she's watching me. Damn, her instincts are sharp. Smoking? What are you talking about, doctor? Go? You're exactly the type who smokes when I'm not around, and then erases the evidence. Ah, now that hurts. I've been holding back and staying smoke-free, truly. Daebom quickly tossed the unlit cigarette into the ashtray. It's been a long time since we last had a meal together. I've been buried in autopsies too. Is having a meal such a big deal? Let's eat together. You suddenly switch to formal speech when you feel guilty. I can see right through you. What would I feel guilty about? I speak politely because I respect you, Dr. Go. Just then, agents began heading down from the rooftop as the short break ended. Eun-ah, the break's over. Something urgent just came up. I'll call you once we're done. HMPH. When you've got nothing to say, you always change the subject. Fine, take care of yourself and call me. Yes, ma'am. The motorcycle surged forward. A sleek motorcycle cut through the expressway, slicing the wind. A beautiful woman rode the speeding bike, speaking on the phone. Comrade Jang Eun-young, you know. The saying, when a guest arrives, hospitality must be sincere, don't you? Yes. I learned it at the guest house. Senior hero Kang is an extremely important asset to us. Yes. I'm fully aware. When entertaining him, there must be no carelessness, no sense of neglect. Remember that. I've already built a close relationship through our hobby group. There's no need to worry. Make him firmly one of ours. Show him the hospitality skills you learned at the guest house. Yes, Instructor Hyuk saw. The long-legged beauty twisted the throttle, her hair whipping in the wind. Inside her helmet, Eun-ah enjoyed the scenery flashing past on both sides. Along the riverside, morning dew shimmered on the reeds, glittering in formation, as if blessing the path of a triumphant general. She followed the quiet road and arrived at a secluded house inside. A tranquil recreational area. It was a weekday, so there were few people around. 5 or 6 male and female hikers were seen casually entering nearby mountain lodge motels. Eun-ah stopped at the gate of the isolated house. She pressed the keypad firmly, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. The interior revealed a traditional Korean Hanok-style structure, with a living room designed to frame a stunning mountain view. In the distance, a skating rink could be seen from above an elegant, beautiful space. A lawn spread out beyond the windows, tall trees forming a natural barrier. From inside, it was easy to observe the outside. But from outside, it was nearly impossible to see into the house. It felt like a well-secured safe house. She passed through the entryway into the living room. The place was silent, no sign of anyone inside. She opened the master bedroom. Everything was neatly arranged. Stepping through the bedroom door led to a small pool area, where hot water continuously poured from the mouths of stone lion statues. Eun-ah removed the leather riding suit she wore on her motorcycle. She unfastened her belt, slipped out of her pants, tossed off her top, and stepped toward the small pool. The view of her back, radiating from her stunning figure, was beyond words. Wrapped in a long white towel, her bare body slipping into the pool looked no different from a celestial maiden. Warm water flowed down her pale, sensuous upper body. Eun-ah closed her eyes tightly and leaned her head against the pool wall. She let herself enjoy the mountain view spreading beyond the water. Man San Hong Yopi. Late autumn had already dyed the mountain ridges in brilliant crimson leaves. The recent assassinations of former high-ranking NIS officials had weighed heavily on her mind. While monitoring the investigation team's movements, she continued to report internal developments to Hyuk-soo, codename Black Snake. Following the investigative direction while witnessing such brutal scenes placed her under double strain. It felt like walking on thin ice, step by step, through a tangled web of threads slowly tightening. Lost in thought, she suddenly heard the door at the pool entrance open. Footsteps. Someone was approaching with deliberate strides. Eun-ah lifted her head from the water and rose. She brushed her long, wet hair back. Her beauty was dazzling. A middle-aged man wearing sunglasses approached. His sculpted features were striking. Sharp eyes, double eyelids, and a gaze filled with unmistakable desire. He sat down on a chair beside the pool and took out a cigarette. Pulling out a Zippo lighter, he flicked it open. Click. The crisp metallic sound echoed. He took a drag and slowly exhaled into the air. I like the sound of a Zippo. It feels intimate. For me, it's the heartbeat of a motorcycle. That's why I joined the riding club and how I came to know you, sir. There are 3 sounds I've grown fond of in my life, he said. One is the sound of a motorcycle. Another is the click of a Zippo opening and closing. That's very stylish. There's one more. Do you know what it is? I'm not sure. It's Eun-ah's heartbeat. Oh, I'm honored. I also find your heartbeat comforting, sir. Do you know why the heart makes that sound? Isn't it usually explained as the sound of the mitral and semilunar valves closing? You haven't been coming to the club lately. Something happened? Yes. There have been complications at work. That won't do. You should have called. It wouldn't be true to say I didn't think about it. But you didn't. Next time things get hard, I'll call. Anytime you're struggling, call me. If I can help, I will. Yes, I will. But why aren't you coming into the pool? I can't swim. I don't like going into the water. Oh, it's not deep here. Even so, I've hated water since birth. Why is that? Probably because of a psychological trauma from childhood. Then you should try to overcome it. It's not that easy. I remember my mother holding me and stepping into a hot bath when I was little. My feet never touched the bottom, but strangely, I felt safe. That's because you were in your mother's arms. You trusted her. That's right. I suppose that's why. I can't trust anyone else. You shouldn't let it turn into lasting trauma. I tried learning to swim. I went to 3 different pools. And? I still can't float. It's like the water rejects me. Hey, rejects you? I learned at Gomdori swimming pool. I also trained in the basement pool at the Hyunjin building. Maybe you didn't try hard enough? Maybe my body structure is too similar to water molecules. Like sugar dissolving in water, I just mix in and sink. Dissolving? That's quite a poetic way to say you can't float. I almost died. Where? In the basement pool of the Hyunjin building in Anggakdong. What happened? That day, the instructor usually had us move from shallow water to deep water. But that time? That time, we started in the deep end and moved toward the shallow end. That can happen. I like staying near the edge of the pool. If I lose strength or panic, it's easier to get out. Of course. But that day, someone took that spot. I ended up standing near the middle. The middle? That's an awkward position. Yeah. We started, I floated for a moment and then I sank. No matter how much I struggled, my feet couldn't reach the bottom. I just couldn't stay afloat. Sounds like you went through a lot. But back then, that swimming instructor was extremely popular. With female fans. Well, instructors with bronzed skin and solid muscles are bound to be popular. But he glanced at me flailing in the water. And then, as if I didn't exist, he just looked away. So? I desperately grabbed onto the lane rope to pull myself up. But it kept swaying, and it wasn't easy at all. That must have been painful. I was gasping for air, begging for help with my eyes and my hands. But the instructor, surrounded by cheering women, completely ignored me. Oh, I see. My chest was scraped raw from clinging to the lane rope. Blood was seeping out in little spots. And with all that chlorine water, it couldn't have been good for my body. That was a costly lesson. I quit that pool the very same day. You got upset? Not upset. I gained a philosophy. A philosophy? If you don't have the physique or the muscles, then sharpen your skills. Never allow anyone to look down on you again. Impressive, sir. Except for the president. Anyone who dares to disrespect me, I crush them completely. So thoroughly that they never dare meet my eyes again. What happened to that instructor afterward? That bastard? I taught him a proper lesson. He probably can't swim anymore. And he certainly can't boast about that sleek body of his. You have a ruthless side to you. Isn't that exactly why you came to me? Because you like my ruthlessness because you need it? I do like ruthlessness. I've even consumed snake venom. Snake venom? Hey, that's a bit much. Have you ever tried it? When I was young, I consumed it often. What are you talking about? A child, doing something so reckless? My father would grab a snake's head, pry open its fangs, and hold a spoon underneath. And then? What do you think happened? The venom dripped straight from the fangs. That's disturbing. It sounds disturbing, right? But no, my father drank it first, then gave it to me. Your father was a frightening man. That's why my constitution changed. Snake venom heated my body so much that I didn't even feel bitter cold in winter. I often went without socks, even in midwinter. A woman who loves snake venom, that's chilling. Yes. Maybe that's why I became so poisonous. You? You seem delicate to me. Even so, I've always held deep respect for you, sir. Why? Because a man needs power. A man who holds authority is attractive. Power isn't only about authority. There are other kinds of power too. The chief pulled Eun-ah toward him and lifted her effortlessly. There was no sign of strain in his movements. He tossed her onto the bed and pressed himself against her, burying himself in her warmth. He showered her with scorching kisses, igniting their bodies. At some point, Eun-ah straddled his body and looked down at his face. Seeing the desire etched deeply into her expression, he closed his eyes. It seemed that, for this moment, he was surrendering control to her. Her uncontrollable desire tightened around his, then loosened, binding him, releasing him, again and again. She drove him gently, then fiercely, until his eyes signaled that he could endure no more. Only after his lips released a rough, broken groan did she collapse against his chest, as if falling into his arms. Two bodies, soaked in sweat, were tightly entwined. Kang Young-woong's rough breathing gradually slowed. Eun-ah placed her ear against his chest and listened to his heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. The three comforting sounds he had mentioned earlier. The motorcycle, the Zippo lighter, and Eun-ah's heartbeat. Now she could hear his heartbeat too. How much time had passed? Kang Young-woong slept deeply, a satisfied expression on his face. Steady breathing. A peaceful look. Eun-ah carefully slipped out of his arms, and gazed toward the mountain view beyond the pool. The crimson foliage covering the mountains swayed in the autumn wind. Black Snake, sir, I have made Chief Kang Young-woong my ally. Eun-ah's eyes hardened into a cold, settled gaze. After showering and getting dressed, she returned to being Lee Eun-ah once more. She stared at herself in the mirror. It was time to ride her motorcycle back. Beauty Spy War Episode 29 ending. Episode 29 ends here. The NIS code analysis room finally decoded the message. The 4-digit number 0425. Repeated in the assassinations of director Kim Bom-jun and director Jang Jin-woo. April 25, the founding day of the Korean People's Revolutionary Army. The connection to North Korea became clear. And the code Bex. Could it be Begsuko? The next target is not in Seoul. Will an assassination happen at Begsuko? Dae-bom tried to smoke on the rooftop. When Dr. Ko-eun-hee called, "What's that smell? Are you smoking?" Her sixth sense, as if she could see him. Guilty Dae-bom quickly discarded the cigarette. Vroom vroom. A beautiful woman riding a motorcycle on Jeoro. Lee Eun-ah with her long legs. But her real name is Jang Eun-yang. A North Korean operative. Comrade Jang Eun-yang. Make Chief Kang Young-woong firmly our ally. Orders from Black Snake. Kang Young-woong is a very important person to North Korea. At a secluded safe house with a mountain view, Eun-ah gazed at the beautiful autumn foliage. Walking on thin ice, between complex investigations and her double life. Then a middle-aged man in sunglasses appeared. Chief Kang Young-woong. I love the sound of this Zippo. It's intimate, isn't it? Childhood trauma from being ignored at a swimming pool. That's why he fears water. Except for the president. I will thoroughly crush anyone who disrespects me. Obsession with power. Ambition to never be ignored again. And Eun-ah, who grew up eating snake venom. Men should have power. Men with power are attractive. Desire for power. Ambitious craving. They pull each other closer. Power isn't just about authority, is it? Other kinds of strength are needed too. Eun-ah thrown onto the bed. A passionate kiss. A dangerous night where power and desire intertwine. Who is the target at Begsuko? Is Chief Kang being manipulated? How far will Eun-ah go? Beauty Spy War is based on Scorpio. A finalist in the second Proud Korean Screenplay competition. Please subscribe and like if you enjoyed today's episode. This has been Beauty Spy War, episode 29. Thank you for listening. Opening narration. Welcome back to Beautiful Spy Wars, an intelligence thriller audiobook series. In today's episode, a deadly assassination unfolds at Begsuko in Busan. A former intelligence officer becomes the target of a ruthless killer known as Hyena. Behind the scenes, hidden codes and covert operations point toward a far larger conspiracy. Tension rises, and the clock is ticking. Let the story begin. Episode 30. Hyena poisons former agent An Kang-min at Begsuko. They say a biometric security equipment seminar and exhibition are being held right now at Begsuko in Busan. Biometric security equipment? Fingerprints, voice prints, veins, irises, things like that. This smells suspicious. What kind of smell do you mean? Up until now, the two former agents who were killed were both connected to biometric security companies, weren't they? That's right. So I wonder if there are any former National Intelligence Service personnel involved in this exhibition as well. That's true. But could it simply be overheated competition among biometric security companies lately? We can't rule that out either. Let's keep all possibilities open. For now, we should conduct a quiet internal investigation nearby, without disrupting the event. And if, by any chance, something goes wrong, we move in immediately. But if the operatives notice that we've been deployed, It'll only make apprehending them harder. So let's focus on observing trends and movements among the biometric security firms around Begsuko. Understood. Let's proceed that way for now. Begsuko, Busan. As you entered the corridor inside, Begsuko, security officers in black suits were inspecting suspicious individuals and checking their belongings. A screening officer stood alert with an earpiece in place. A walk-through metal detector had been installed. A female officer conducted polite but firm inspections. At that moment, a quick service delivery man walked in, carrying a large potted plant. "How can I help you?" "Delivery for a flower pot." "Where should I put it?" "You're a bit late with the delivery." "Who needs to sign for this?" He pulled out a receipt slip from the pouch on his waist and asked. The security officer carefully examined the flower pot from all angles. He double-checked to make sure there was nothing suspicious about it. "Leave the pot here, then head up to the customer support office on the second floor. And speak with Assistant Manager Kim." "Do I go this way?" "No, that direction is closed off. Go that way instead. And when you leave, go out the opposite way." The delivery man followed the corridor. Then quietly slipped into an empty office. Quickly, he took off his delivery vest and changed into clean casual clothes. From the other end of the hall, a senior security officer approached. He was carefully reviewing the event floor plan in his hand. "Has the emergency stairwell been fully checked?" "Yes, we're almost done." "And make sure that flower pot is placed inside, along with the ice sculpture as soon as it arrives." "Yes, the second sector has already been screened and sealed. And nothing unusual has been detected in the central control room either." "Have the basement mechanical and HVAC rooms been checked?" "They're being screened now. We'll attach the seal as soon as we finish." The senior officer jabbed at the floor plan with his finger, scolding sharply. "The event is about to begin. I told you to always think about possible contingencies first." He suddenly kicked the guard in the shin. Hey, be thorough. And hurry it up. What do you think you're doing sealing things now?" "Yes, sir. I'm sorry." The officer rubbed his sore shin and answered with a dissatisfied expression. The exhibition hall at Begsuko in Busan was packed with people. Right in front of the main entrance stood a large sign reading, "Biometric Security Equipment Expo." Rows of demonstration devices were neatly lined up. Clear acrylic panels displayed cleanly printed text and diagrams. Inside the main conference hall, a presenter stood before a massive screen, giving an enthusiastic explanation while demonstrating the equipment. Colorful beams from projectors lit up the ceiling. Various graphics, operating principles, and system processes appeared and disappeared on the screen. Pointing with a red laser pointer, the presenter explained, "The iris forms a unique individual pattern within the first 1 to 2 years after birth, and does not change for the rest of one's life. It contains around 270 distinctive characteristics, making it the most accurate method for identifying a person. In particular, since it is a non-contact method, it causes no discomfort, and identity verification can be completed within 1 second." "What about identical twins?" someone asked. "Even identical twins can be clearly distinguished. Then what are the fields of application? The demand is virtually explosive. It can be used in highly secure locations such as research institutes, military facilities, computer centers, and power plants, as well as banks, financial institutions, immigration control, and e-commerce." Agent Young-dae was busily moving about, trying to grasp the current state of security companies that had recently come under investigation due to the Jang director case. After walking around and observing various booths, Young-dae stepped in and asked a question. "Is the outlook for the global security industry promising?" According to specialized research institutions, the global security industry is expected to reach around $501 billion by 2030, approximately 715 trillion won in Korean currency. "And what about the biometric security field specifically?" The biometric security system market alone is projected to reach about $95 billion, roughly 137 trillion won. Competition to dominate the global market is expected to be extremely fierce. The staff member explained kindly. Young-dae moved diligently from booth to booth, jotting down notes in his notebook. "Wow, if the biometric security market alone is worth 137 trillion won, this is going to be a brutal battlefield." He nodded, visibly impressed. Next, there was a presentation on vein recognition systems. Other systems were introduced as well: voice print analysis, various PowerPoint presentations, and detailed images displayed on the screen. Members of the audience whispered among themselves, nodding in amazement. Crowds overflowed around every booth. People gasped in surprise as they watched one demonstration after another. Near the VIP room inside Begsuko, security officers in black suits were inspecting the belongings of suspicious individuals. Assistant Manager Kim from the customer support office came downstairs, and the staff member who had received the flower pot delivery earlier asked him, "Did you sign for the quick service delivery of the 3-tier flower pot earlier? What 3-tier flower pot? Everything has already arrived. The decorative ice sculpture came too. There shouldn't be anything else coming. It went up quite a while ago. Did you meet him or not? I haven't met anyone. What 3-tier flower pot are you talking about? Wait, what the hell is going on here? In that instant, the security officer sensed that something had gone terribly wrong. He immediately radioed headquarters to report a potential emergency situation. If the quick service delivery man is spotted, apprehend him immediately. Confirm current location of the quick service delivery man. Copy that. Confirmed. Request all floors to rescreen immediately. Security officers could be seen moving quickly throughout the vast Begsuko complex to conduct an urgent search. Inside a restroom at Begsuko, the chairman of the Security Equipment Inspection Committee was taking care of personal business. Kang Min, a former high-ranking officer who had once served in the National Intelligence Service. At that moment, a man entered the restroom with an event pamphlet tucked under his arm. It was Eun-ah, but with latex disguise covering his face, no one could recognize him. The man casually glanced around to see if anyone else was inside, and quietly waited for the right moment. Kang Min tensed briefly, then relaxed again and continued what he was doing. After washing his face, he pulled out a hand towel to dry himself. At that instant, Eun-ah lunged forward, wrapping his arm around Kang Min's neck and clamping a hand over his mouth. Kang Min twisted violently, resisting and fighting back. A fierce struggle broke out inside the restroom, pushing, shoving, crashing into walls. For a moment, it seemed evenly matched. But Eun-ah, a trained North Korean special operative, quickly overpowered him. He pulled out a pen-shaped poison needle and drove it deep into Kang Min's exposed neck. Drip. A single drop of blood fell to the floor. Unable to resist any further, Kang Min collapsed helplessly. Eun-ah grabbed him from behind and dragged his limp body toward one of the toilet stalls. As he was dragged across the floor, a thin trail of blood smeared behind his shoes. Eun-ah shoved him inside a stall and locked the door from within. He looked down at the motionless body, then quickly peeled off the latex mask from his face. With a light leap, he vaulted over the top of the partition and exited the stall. A few minutes later, another male visitor hurried into the restroom. He noticed the broken sink but shrugged it off and used the urinal. He spotted faint traces of blood on the floor, tilted his head in confusion, and left without thinking much of it. Soon after, a janitor entered with cleaning supplies. Seeing the bloodstains on the floor, she casually wiped them away with a mop. She clicked her tongue at the cracked sink in the corner. No matter how much money they spend replacing sinks and fixtures, people just get drunk, smash things, puke all over them. Some idiots even wash their hair in here. Tisk tisk. If this were their own house, would they act like that? Muttering to herself, she began cleaning each stall one by one. Then she noticed something strange. A pair of shoes sticking out from beneath one of the stall doors. She screamed in terror and ran out of the restroom. Outside Begsuko, an ambulance with flashing lights rushed to the entrance. Emergency carts pushed through the crowd at full speed. Paramedics in orange uniforms moved frantically, while security officers struggled to maintain order. At the exit, police officers had begun urgent ID checks. Amid the chaos, a man carrying a black 007 briefcase quietly tried to slip away. At a glance, he bore a striking resemblance to Hyena. "Excuse me, sir. Just a moment." A police officer called out from behind. The man pretended not to hear and quickened his pace. "Hey, stop right there." Officers sprinted after him. "Catch him. Stop that man." The suspect, who looked eerily like Hyena from behind, burst through the revolving glass doors on the first floor, and disappeared into the crowd. Police chased after him at full speed. A passerby was knocked down in the commotion. The man shoved over a fruit cart, hurled a trash can aside, and resisted wildly. He pushed people out of his way and darted through narrow alleys between buildings. After a long chase, "Damn it, this is bad." He reached a dead end. The walls were too steep to climb. Cornered, he fought back desperately to avoid capture. Then, from the far end of the alley, a police officer appeared with a pistol raised. "Freeze. One more move and you'll regret it." "Hey. What the hell? I didn't do anything. Shut up and put your hands up." Suddenly, the suspect pulled out a knife and lunged. The officer tightened his grip on the gun, ready to fire at any second. "Drop the knife. Drop it, you son of a bitch." A seasoned detective shouted from behind. More police reinforcements were rushing in. The suspect's legs began to wobble. In an instant, he was tackled and overpowered. Captured. Breathing hard, the officers surrounded him. With a gun still trained on him, one officer barked an order. "Open the bag. Now. Open it." Episode 30 ends here. At the Biometric Security Equipment Expo in Busan, BEXCO, Hyena infiltrated using a latex disguise. An Kang-min, a former high-ranking NIS agent and chairman of the Security Equipment Inspection Committee, was assassinated in the restroom with hyena's poison needle. A suspicious man fleeing Begsuko was chased by police and cornered in a dead-end alley. Open it. Quickly. Open it now. What's inside the briefcase? Is he really hyena? Beauty Spy War is based on Scorpio, a finalist in the second Proud Korean Screenplay competition. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and like. Thank you for listening.